Let's find the limit as theta approaches 0 of 1 minus the cosine of theta divided by theta. Now, if we try and do a direct substitution, we're going to get 1 minus 1 over 0. This is 0 over 0, and that's not helpful. It's indeterminate. So we're going to have to do some algebraic manipulation. So the limit as theta approaches 0, 1 minus the cosine of theta divided by theta. So there's not much that we can do here, like getting a common denominator or anything like that. So we're going to have to rely on trigonometric identities. Let's multiply by the conjugate. 1 plus the cosine of theta. We'll have to do that on top and on bottom. So when we do that, we get the limit as theta approaches 0, and the numerator becomes 1 minus cosine squared theta. In the denominator, I'll just multiply these together. I wouldn't distribute this because we're going to look for any sort of factoring and canceling or anything that we can do like that. Okay, so let's get rid of the cosine. 1 minus cosine squared in the top. Well, we know that is just sine squared. So this becomes sine squared theta, now divided by theta times 1 plus the cosine of theta. Okay. Now this looks an awful lot like what we had before. We could split this up as the limit as theta approaches 0 of the sine of theta divided by theta multiplied by the sine of theta over 1 plus the cosine of theta. And now let's take this limit. Now we've already shown in the last video that the limit as theta approaches 0 of the sine of theta divided by theta is just the number 0. And then if we do a direct substitution into the second portion, we get that the sine of theta, the limit as theta approaches 0, we proved this earlier as well, is just 0. Oh, hang on. This isn't theta, this is the number 0. Okay. And then we have 1 plus, and from an earlier video, again, we also proved that as theta goes to 0, the limit of the cosine is just 1. So in the end, this becomes 0 plus 0 over 2, which is just 0 times 0, which is 0. Therefore, we can say the limit as theta approaches 0 of 1 minus the cosine of theta divided by theta is equal to 0. And we'll see this limit come back later on in the course.